from Nubian Human in the Anacostia Arts Center in historic Anacostia, Southeast Washington, D.C., and this is the Neighborish live cast. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Super Dave, a.k.a. Mr. Incredible, and with me, as always, are two of the dopest individuals in the world. In the world, Craig. The world.
You hear that, Craig?
First of all, our resident feminine energy. She's a personal trainer and fitness guru, Miss Fruit Fit herself.
Fruit Fit.
Patrice Jones is with us. She's in the cut today. She's staying healthy for her Fruit Fit crew, making sure that she doesn't get too close. She got the Fruit Fit, the official Fruit Fit mask on. Shout out to that. I need one of them, man. That's kind of dope. Can you bedazzle it with like some black dough or some, we'll talk about it. We'll set it up. But, and then also, as always, DC's native son.
Hey.
The one and only SC3 representative.
Hey.
Jason is with us.
Hello.
What's up, sir? How's it
Hola.
going? How's
Hola.
it going? And we definitely have a great show for y'all today. We're so glad to be back in our home location, Nubian Human.
Hey.
Shout out to the Nubian Human, I like to say the just to make Jay look at me like
I don't care, man.
Always
I'm
put
a
the
new man.
on there. But yeah, we're glad to be back in our spot. The social distancing had us, separated for a while, but we're back here. We're bringing it back together. Still stressing everybody to be safe and be healthy in these COVID-19 streets. But we have a great show for you today. I first saw today's guest perform at one of Jason's events a few years ago, and I was blown away by his mastery of the art of linguistics paired with the intellectual value of the ideas he presented.
I
think I told you that that day too, right? I think I did. Yeah. I was
Nigga
like,
said art of linguistics.
Yeah.
Get out
It's
of
like
here.
you can't just, It's like, I thought the nigga was just rhyming words. I didn't know. But look, y'all don't have to take my word for it. You can pick up his mixtape entitled Another Way on SoundCloud. And you can also see him this Friday at the Safe Summer DC Artist Showcase. And we're going to get a specific time and location and all that for that from him.
No, we're not.
But, but I want to welcome our guest, Ahmad Woodard. I want to say it right. Woodard, right? Ahmad Woodard.
Ahmad Woodard.
I almost put a W, an extra W in there.
Woodworth and Lothar.
Yeah, right. No, Ahmad Woodard. And I want to get it right because y'all going to have to, definitely keep your eyes out for this young man. He's a talented dude, and I see him doing big things. And we're so glad to have him here today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Hello to everyone out there.
Yeah.
Facebook Live.
Definitely. So we definitely gonna get into all the stuff that I talked about. I really want to because we some old cats in here. You kind of starting your journey, so it's so interesting that But you've done a lot. Also, I was looking at I always do some research, so I was looking at your pages and stuff and seeing some of the cool things that you've already done. So we're gonna get into all of that, man. But first, it's a lot of things going on in the city, in the country, in the world that we need to talk about, and we're gonna talk about
going on, Dave?
Right now. It's a lot, man. So today, I want to talk about a few situations and a few people. And one of the people I want to talk about, I'm gonna start with LL Cool J. And I'm gonna start with him because he started a live video last week that turned into kind of a rant. He started out by making some statements and posing a few questions to his fans, and then he began to see social media do what social media does, which is start to bash him, basically, for the questions and things he was saying. Yeah.
Todd.
Yeah,
they mad at Todd?
They was mad at Todd.
Oh,
but
what
Buddies
he
love
do?
Cool J.
Yeah. And that was kind of the thing. He kind of, because since he's been out, I've followed, L Cool J's, career for a while. I'm be 40 in August, and probably all my life I've known something about,
He's
James
definitely
Todd.
been relevant for all that time.
Definitely, but in that time, especially moving into the transition from just being a musician to also doing the movies and the TV and stuff, you started to see the persona, him kind of build the persona of who he was, and no, it ain't no technical difference. Anyway, start seeing him build a persona of who he was, and kind of so you would see he would take more care about how he presented himself in the public eye. So it was very his persona was always very polished, and so in situations like this, I thought it was interesting that he took this opportunity to kind of break that away for a certain period of time in that piece that he was doing, and actually kind of show a lot of his vulnerability, a lot of his the actual person that he is, you know. And he talked a lot about, he was asking some questions that he had personally looking at the whole situation. He talked about the imagery of the police officer's knee on George Floyd's neck and how that really kind of seared into his psyche and stayed with him. And how
that's
it
why
brought
they're
about
circulating it like that. That's what they want.
because it's vivid imagery. But I mean, he talked about how it brought about certain questions for him, and one of the questions, for instance, that he asked was just something that he kind of musing about out loud, just how interracial families, what kind of conversation is happening inside interracial, like a, you know, white person, black person has a biracial child, and what kind of the conversations was it. And he started seeing people saying stuff like, well, that's a stupid question, and why would you ask that, and stuff like that. And it kind of
why is that a stupid question?
Yeah, and it kind of took him into a place where he started talking about a lot of the issues that we see with social media, and how, like, you know, people want to focus on the easy stuff. He was like, okay, we know that racism still exists. We know that there's a serious issue with police brutality in America. And these are things that we need to face, but we need to start looking at it from different angles. And one of the points that he made was, we keep coming at this thing straight on. And he's like, everybody's talking tough and losing. So he was basically like, everybody's so riled up, and we out here, you know, protesting and looting and stuff. And he was saying, not saying that it's anything against these people or taking away from how they feel, but we have to be more strategic about our approach, because this has been the same approach we've been taking for a long time. And every week we still seeing somebody else shot, somebody else murdered, somebody else, you know. So, and I mean, I just thought it was interesting, and it brought about a couple of ideas for today's show and what we would talk about. But that whole idea of people not he was talking about you know, asking these difficult questions and focusing on the things that people don't really, the stuff that people kind of stray away from. I like to talk about the actual the nitty gritty. I guess I'm trying to think of a better term than nitty, but anyway, the inner workings of racial understanding, and the work that it's going to take with people talking to each other and coming to understandings between each other, as opposed to just like they were to him being so dismissive, as opposed to taking what he's saying and just saying, oh, that's stupid. Let's not even, you know, because, you know, these conversations need to be had, period. And, you know, you start to, if you don't even have the want to understand someone else, even if you don't agree with them, like, you should at least try to understand even your enemy, you know, to a certain extent. You should try to understand their point of view. It'll help you in strategy, right, Jay? In war, you need to understand, you need to know your enemy, right?
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, you can't really truly understand someone unless you ask these questions. So I just thought that was real interesting. You know, the things that he was saying. If you haven't had a chance, it's out there floating around on social media, his whole little rant. And it wasn't necessarily a rant, more like a stern talking to, you know, because seeing how he was greeted with such, you know, disdain from some people. And, you know, it was an interesting look into the world of what social media is, because he had certain people saying things to him, and he was interested in dialoguing with these people and actually talking to them, and, you know, finding out what their ideas were and why they felt so strongly about what he said. And so he would be like, oh, this person's saying something, let me bring them in. And one by one, he did it about 5 or 6 times. And one by one, he would try to bring someone in, and they would decline. And it's like, okay, you bold enough to say something, but you don't want to talk about, you know. And so I thought that was a powerful, you know,
that
just
shows a lot.
That wasn't even
that shows
like
a lot.
He was just going live to talk about this one thing, and it turned into something completely different, and it wasn't set up, and it was so, and just the sheer, like, vulnerability of that moment and the realness of that moment to show that everybody, he's like, okay, you come on in and say, let's talk about this, and they decline. He's like, okay, you don't want to talk? Okay, who else is saying? You're saying something, come on in, and okay, you decline too. It's like nobody wanted to step up.
That sounds exactly what social media is.
Yeah,
it's like keyboard becomes powerful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, how do you really feel? It's like, oh. Can't nobody hear you.
Hold on,
back there.
So this is what I'm gonna do. Let me give her this one. You get that microphone.
Try and make her a little.
There you go. This one is
make her a little point no from the couch.
Hold on.
I hear you from the couch.
Check.
Jay, say some stuff. Get some bars or something.
Check
Like
1, 2. We coming to you, huh?
Is Jay letting me move in with him if I don't get no clients?
I'm
You gonna get clients. You gonna get. Nah. We
right?
endorse Fruit Fit if you're trying to get your health together and your
Technical difficulties.
to get your body tight and right. Holla at Patrice Fruit Fit.
It's cool.
John, she got masks.
We here.
She got masks.
We
You
here.
might as well come sit at the table. You got a pillow to protect you. Come on.
I done just pulled this whole microphone. She going back to the couch.
I'm telling. By the end of the show, she gonna be at the table, bro. You messing up my scheme. I tell you, Dave.
All right, I'm good now.
Dave just
I
doesn't.
Jay just scared to say he want me to step aside.
I know I'm not. I said
He
that.
always say
I already said that.
So now Patrice has it. Now, what were you saying, Patrice? You don't even remember what you were saying, do you?
Do I have some?
Yeah, you have to.
I was gonna say everybody has huge confidence behind in the one dimension realm.
Yeah.
And that's with social media. But to your point about LL Cool J and him talking about both sides of the spectrum. If you have a family that's interracial, I actually thought about that this morning when I was doing cardio. I was thinking about how people have different views, like even with the whole Black Lives Matter topic. And I was talking to somebody yesterday how we have different views on things, but if you vibrate low and you have a level of low emotional intelligence, then you can't have those conversations without becoming irate, without feeling like you're being attacked because you lack that level of intelligence. And that's why it's very important when we have these conversations. We have to understand that everybody's coming from a different level of understanding and level of intelligence.
That's true.
I agree.
I feel like I made myself.
Well said.
Yeah. So that's a great point, Patrice. Miss Fruit Fit.
Fruit Fit.
So in that same vein, I was looking, researching different things to talk about today. I saw another post from Don Lemon, the correspondent for CNN. He's I don't necessarily have anything against Don Lemon as a person. Like, he's a pretty good correspondent. He does his thing on CNN. But he was talking in the moment. There's this clip of him watching like some riots, and he starts talking about I guess what a lot of people tend to do in times like that is start talking about what we need to do as a community to make things better. And I mean, a lot of good ideas come out of those type of conversations, but every now and again there's certain things. Like, he started what people are saying, people are dubbing it like he was calling out certain celebrities, for their lack of I guess presence in this whole situation that's been going on. And that whole thing is interesting to me, and I'm gonna get you guys' opinion about it, just because. I don't think he named anybody specific. Like, after they put it, they were like, "Oh, he was talking to Oprah, and he was talking to Ellen DeGeneres or a certain other people who weren't as vocal." And I think that this same thing that we're talking about, this entity of social media, has given people such a level of, first of all, anonymity, so you don't really have to be yourself, but also a level of chutzpah, or what is it, like, I don't want to say balls, but courage. So that puts them in a position to feel like that they have. I don't think anybody has the right to tell anybody else, how to spend their money or how to. You can't. So like Aisha used to say, you can't dictate someone else's level of outrage. And that statement came out of when the whole Me Too thing was going on. And certain people were like, oh, well, this didn't really bother that person as bad. So, but you don't have the right to dictate someone else's level of outrage. And it works both ways. So I can't, as a person, well, I guess you can do anything, but I wouldn't myself say that anybody else should do anything. Like, if you see a deficiency, fill it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it, and don't attack somebody else for not doing it. I don't think that that's prudent. I don't think that it's helpful to what we're trying to do. I don't, and that's just my opinion of it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
This nigga said prudent.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of good, vocabulary word.
You?
But I mean, that whole thing, this idea came about a couple of years ago. There was like this story about Kim Kardashian, and I don't know anything about the Kardashians. I don't really care about them. The only thing I really know is that she's married to Kanye, but
you know some other things about her, Dave.
well, we've seen a lot. But the point is, the story, a couple of years ago, she had donated like maybe 20 dresses or something to this charity to be sold at auction to raise money for, and it was a noble charity. I don't even remember what the charity was, but she was getting a lot of backlash, and people were saying things like, "Oh, she's a millionaire. I know she's got hundreds. She should have gave more. She should have did more." And it's like, you don't have the right to dictate. What have you done? Would always be my question in that situation. And maybe they did a lot, but I think for me that's a sucker move to point out what somebody else isn't doing, as opposed to. And that's just my opinion of it. Like, what do you guys think? Like, Jay, what's your, on quote unquote calling people out for not, especially celebrities?
Yeah, I don't have any expectations of celebrities. So
right.
I don't. There's no need for me to call nobody out because I'm not. I don't have expectations. Well, I don't really have expectations for
anybody.
Anybody outside of that I know, because I don't know them. I don't know these people's character. I don't know how they were raised. I don't know what their intentions are. But I hold people accountable that I know that are in my tribe because we have a collective goal, and you know what I'm saying. So, in order to reach certain goals, we all have to kind of like pull our weight.
Right.
And so it's not even really calling people out. It's really just like checking on people. Like, yo, you good?
Yeah.
Because, you ain't pulling your weight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it ain't like to call you out in anger. It's like, yo, is something wrong? Or can I assist you with something? Or like, what's something going on in your life? But nah, I don't really have any expectations from any,
But see, that's because, not to cut you off. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you finished or you do?
Are you finished? Is you done?
So that speaks to what I was saying earlier, that's because you don't vibe like that. So in order for somebody to understand that it's not your job to call somebody out or, talk about what somebody's not doing, because you're so focused on what you are doing and how you are depositing everything that you can into your life, into the movement, into the lives of the people around you. So that earlier this week, I was talking about how, in addition to big ups to everybody on the front line that's down protesting and everything, but for me as a Black business owner, like I've been depositing myself into the people around me, into the communities for a long time, and it's not about me, but it's about what we deposit into the movement. And so I can't call somebody out for, oh man, why you ain't go down to the protest? Why you ain't, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? You don't know what that person is doing in their space to love on their people or love on a movement and get so many things done that some other people may not be able to do. And that speaks to us collectively being able to do those things. So if we think that collectively, the four of us in this room, each one of us can do something, how can you call out that person for not doing something instead of calling them out? Say, wait, maybe that's something I can take up, but here's something that I think maybe you can do. And then it's kind of like that fist theory, that is, as a fist we're strong, but as a finger we're not. And so we have to be that fist, and calling somebody out, for lack of a better term, is not the way to get stuff done. Not the way to get stuff done.
So true. I definitely, and that was my sentiment, was just like, what can you be doing more as opposed to calling somebody out? And then even the idea of, because I definitely understand the idea of steel sharpening steel and holding your friends, your brothers, your sisters accountable. But in that, you don't do it in such a public, like you pull them to the side. You let them, hey, I noticed that this is happening, and I feel like you should, it's my opinion that maybe, but let me know what's going on. What am I missing? Right. As opposed to just coming to the conclusion that they're not doing what you think they should be doing, which they might be doing something completely different that's also, instrumental to whatever the common goal is that you don't even know about. So I think that's, and we see it a lot, and I think it's very destructive.
Right, and understanding what needs to be done, because, it's obvious we don't know all of the solutions, because we wouldn't be in the situations that we are in right now. And so those people that are in the trenches, that aren't downtown, that aren't in these, in the protests and all that, those people that are in the trenches that have been doing this for dozens of years, like that are depositing into the communities and into the people around them, realizing, understanding what they do. Like sometimes, like you look at people that are kind of just stepping into this, or kind of just becoming conscious, for lack of a better term. I think that they should talk to the conscious community and the people that's been in the trenches. Like, hey, like matter of fact, I'm gonna be honest with you, Jay. Earlier, was it yesterday? I was looking at something and I was just like, man, I was passing by Suitland Community Center, and they were giving out food or something like that, and I'm not gonna go too much into this, but I was looking at, aspects of the Black Lives Matter movement, how it was started, how it was funded, et cetera, and I was just like, man,
that's a whole show in itself.
Jay, man, I'm trying to. So it's like we. I don't know if y'all gonna talk about that, but
I don't know if we got time.
Yeah, I don't know if we got time, and yeah.
You talking about ruffling feathers?
Yeah.
We need a whole show dedicated just to that.
I know, but I was gonna call you, Jay. Like, Jay, because I know you have a lot of connections in the community, and I want to get back. So all the communities where I used to do community stuff are gone. Berry Farms is gone. Service and Quarters is gone. I want to get back into the community, but I don't have to be. I don't want to be in the front line. Like, I want to be in the trenches, and I want to know how I can contribute my business and my time to the movement. So you can let me know that later.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure Jay got some ideas for how.
Yeah, it's funny, man. The past 2 weeks, I've gotten a lot of calls and texts from people I haven't talked to in years or a while, just kind of like checking in, I guess, and like picking my brain about scenarios and situations. So it's an honor that these people in such high places hold me in regard to information about the community and tangible steps and plans of action. And I don't know, not that I know anything, but it's
don't sell yourself short.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a humbling experience, because the people that I've gotten calls and texts from are like, admirable people. Like, oh, okay. So I'm honored and humbled. So
that's cool.
Yeah. But these times have called for very, like the LL Cool J scenario. These times have called for real conversations and honest conversations that seem to rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Maybe just a few years ago, but now it's like people are forced to have to talk about things. So now that the people that were getting on their nerves, they're consulting now.
All the people that they have to turn
remember
to,
that
right?
thing you told me
Right.
about?
It's
Like,
like,
last when you was reading about or you was doing. Can we talk
Oh,
about
you mean
that?
the thing you told me to shut up about? And
Right. Oh, that thing? You still like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It gets deep like that, though. And I mean, it's important to have these conversations. Like you said, that's the only way. It's the only like real way forward that I think is gaining understanding. Like, because I mean, just we go through a state of mourning. Like everything. I'm trying to think of how to word it. Like, because mourning is not just the loss of death, but it's our intellectual adjustment to change. And so it's how we intellectualize like any drastic change is a state of. So we go through the levels of mourning. You go through the anger, you go through the fear, you go through the all of those steps. And so that's what we're seeing played out on a global level at this point. Is something's got to change. But now the key to the process of mourning, to making it out and not wallowing in that sorrow and all of that is the change that comes about from it. So that's the thing that I'm worried about that too, because I don't see, while I see a lot of, us going through the steps and they're clear, I don't see a lot of change.
What
you got? He got excited.
Let me comfort you, Dave. Let me comfort your spirit, brother.
Okay.
Let me tell you what's going on that wasn't anticipated.
Okay.
So what's happening is the indoctrination of the elite is being broken apart.
Okay.
And the elite don't know how to handle that shit. Because now you got rich white people questioning all their shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That I don't think that has ever happened before. Even with the real movement of the civil rights organizations, because I can remember, folks were stepping up like Marlon Brando and other significant white people would step up. But now what's happening is that the elite are realizing that it's contradictory to what they're saying, like openly. Like so many people are getting fired from their jobs, and you know what I'm saying. So it's like white people are like, "Yo, we can't be racist white no more," and like other white people like, "Yo, I know, but no, like this ain't the time. Like I understand your feeling, but like we gotta fire you." And that's just letting you know, like, yo, there's a lot of people of color all over the globe, bruh. It's like this outwardly racist shit that they used to hang their hat on. It's like crumbling in front of them. And it's like, they be crying and shit. Like, I can't be racist. I can't just hate niggas outwardly. It's like you could, but it's like, it's so many people intertwined in how you got rich. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like the elite are like battling themselves now, like,
and that's because it's kind of a shift, right?
It's great
because the quote unquote elite, the demographic of the elite has changed, right? Like,
no,
it's not the same as it was.
It is,
and the mindset of the demographic, because I mean, it's
still
the same,
it is. It is exactly the same. It's now the problem is that they are getting called out for it, but the mindset hasn't changed.
I think it was a strong mindset of no matter how much they call us out, we're gonna stick strong to this racism.
But that's why they still going hard. That's why they still do it. But now they're seeing our power,
I think it's
which was
fear,
never
right?
displayed before. You think it's what?
I think it's the people that are still going hard with it is out of, because like you said, like this was the saying, a hit dog gonna holler, like they feeling it. So it's like, oh man, we got to go extra hard because they trying to change what we do. So I think that's more of the outlash that you're saying right now of like the extra, because I was talking to one of my coworkers about like, why they not chilling? Like, why they not like, oh, the heat is on us right now, let's stop killing niggas. It's more
we haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten there yet. So now we're getting like the outrage and the firings and people getting called out. But the problem is they haven't made a decision to stop like killing niggas yet.
And that's what I'm saying. but
we haven't gotten there yet.
Here's the thing, and so I'm glad you brought that up. We have to understand that we are in right now a spiritual and a civil war. We've always had a race war. We've always had one. And I'm going to tell you, and I told you guys one of the last shows at the top of this, and I'm quoting, pandemic, the first thing that sold out was the guns.
Yep.
The first thing that sold out was the guns, and who was buying them? Wasn't us.
Me? No, I'm just playing.
No. You lied, Dave.
Yeah,
well,
I no guns.
I don't know, Fruitfit. We in a different demographic.
That's what I see.
Y'all wasn't buying. But we have to think about
digress.
So we have to think about the fact that so here's the thing. Here's what it is. I'm gonna just be real and upfront for me.
Please do.
For me, this is not. For me, the hashtags and the selfie pictures and the being in front of the camera and nice pictures for social media, and that's not what it's about. I think all of that's distractions. I think the setup was the cell phone. I think the setup was. I think there's a lot of sacrificial stuff going on, like a lot of sacrifice. a lot of unspoken truths. There's a lot of symbolism. With as far as what's Trump doing, he's doing a lot of symbolism that nobody's paying attention to. They're so emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Into what?
Yeah.
And
Yo,
don't
he
get me
he going
wrong,
so hard.
He's
He
going
going
so
hard.
hard. Like the other day when he held up the Bible upside down and he took that picture.
I
Like,
got an
nobody
unpopular
paid attention to
opinion.
that.
Have an
Yeah.
unpopular opinion, Dave.
I
I'm gonna wait
I
till
was
Patrice
about to
finishes.
say,
already know.
I was about to say I know it, but I'm gonna stop saying I know what it is. I'm gonna say some of your ideas because I've known you long enough to kind of have a trajectory of what you. But I will say before you say it real quick, I will say I posted what was it yesterday on Facebook that I truly believe a lot of this stuff is being posted, is being set in front of us as a distraction to keep us focused on fighting each other, so we don't see who the real enemies are. And that's what. But yeah, go ahead, Jay. What's
No,
your
and
unpopular?
I-
opinion?
Patrice
I'm sorry,
wasn't
go ahead.
finished yet.
Yeah, you got to finish.
Yeah, so it's deeper than that. It's deeper than we've been fighting each other for years.
Exactly.
It's
Yep.
deeper than that.
It's the status quo.
It's
They got to
deeper
keep
than
it.
that. We are in a war right now, and it's being. How do we end up outside at the protests? How do we end up out there? How do we get there? What was the trigger?
And it was, and they say
What was the
everybody
It
say
was
Big
George
Floyd. It was Big
yeah,
Floyd.
yeah.
Right. So what was the final trigger? And so what do we know about
Then it was
that whole
Breonna Taylor.
incident?
Yeah, it was Breonna Taylor. It was Ahmad Arbery. It was,
No, the final trigger.
it was the George Floyd. Was
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do we know about that whole incident?
It's a lot deeper than what has been put out in the media. Like they just
Exactly.
released stories about how they knew each other.
Yeah, they work together.
You know, they worked together, so it was deeper than him just arresting a black guy.
That there
It was
were no
somebody
EMTs
that
on the
he
scene.
knew. There was no paramedics showed up until after
just-
everything was over. For all
yeah.
those minutes, no paramedic, but they weren't
So-
called. But I mean, it's a
So
it's a lot behind
we don't know what we don't know.
it.
We don't know what happened. We
so
don't.
silly is profound.
I'm
No,
not
but it
sa-
is.
no,
No, it's
I'm
profound.
not. I'm,
Definitely.
when
We
I
don't
say
know
we
what
don't know what
it's true.
happened, I mean we don't know. We don't know why that was the trigger. We don't know why
Yeah,
that
yeah,
why
right.
that was
And
the
if it
trigger
was-
for everything. Like that, why that was the real that I don't know
Or
how to
if it
say what I
was the
want to say
trigger,
because you know
then-
the unintelligent emotional folks are gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's saying
Well,
it
don't
really
even
didn't
think
happen.
about
That's
like
not what I'm saying.
yeah. No,
But
you
it's-
know, say what you got to say. Don't
I'm
worry about that.
trying.
It'll be all right.
So no, I'm just saying that I don't think we're looking at like if you line all the dominoes up, if you line the virus up, if you line all the things, the dominoes up in a line, they're all gonna fall into place once you start connecting the dots. And I just don't think that we're paying attention to everything. Like I put a post up yesterday and it said, observe, don't absorb. Like you have to really sit back and watch what's going on and understand to Jay's point about social media is that you don't have to, social media is a whole different aspect, but now we have those people that hide behind a keyboard and think that just because you not on social media talking about things, you are a coward and you not for your people, and that's BS. I'm observing. I'm putting the work in other areas, and then I'm observing instead of absorbing and being emotionally unintelligent. Like we gotta understand how that works. So
Definitely, I agree, man. And yeah, that's basically what I was saying too, was about people's how quick they are to point the finger at other people or the quote unquote calling people out and stuff. And it's more about like you don't have to see just because the river looks still on top. You don't see all the violent motion that's going on at that undertow.
Look at
That's
your
what'll kill you.
analogies. Go
You know,
ahead,
well,
Dave.
I do what I want.
The ocean and shit. Go ahead,
Right.
nigga. I hear you over there.
Anyway, so you had alluded to an unpopular opinion, and I'm gonna see if I was right in my assertion of what you finna say.
All right, so if I was a white person in America and I was observing, I went through the 2 terms of Obama, and I started witnessing people being so concerned about black lives and all this niggerdom, and that's been popularized and supported, and if I knew my whole life that internally I subconsciously felt inferior and I guess threatened by a certain entity in my society. My current president would make me feel emboldened and strong and ready to fight for my country. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't care about the people that I don't care about. He's in a position of power to execute laws and orders and control the military at his whim to protect my rights, not their rights. And, you know, because it seems as though as a white American, I would feel that things are crumbling in front of my eyes. Like, this leadership I would support this leadership wholeheartedly, because he is defending the essence of what America is. The essence of what, let me rephrase that. The essence of what the United States is. United States is a corporation. So the essence of what the United States is and what it was founded upon was that it is a white nation, which is well documented. You know, this is a white nation for white people. Any melanated citizens are second-class citizens. They'll never ever get to our elite white status. And so for the past 10 to 15 years, that those followers have kind of watched that start to crumble. You've watched black billionaires formulate right in front of your eyes. You've watched quote unquote black man lead the corporation. And you've watched your white allies and family members start to soften their hearts for the concerns and the abuse of their black co-workers and you know, countrymen and, you know, musicians and artists. And it's like, you know, so this current leadership for that corporation is empowering. And like, yeah, it's protesters in the way. Get them motherfuckers out the way. Shoot that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to this church. I'm taking this picture, nigga. That's how we rolling. That is leadership to the demographic that I'm speaking of. That's giving them like, yeah, we still got control. You know, we still running. They ain't going to take this country from us. And so that's the card that this current leadership is playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like he getting them rallied up, and that's how he could win. And that's how he could win again. Because even those white people that's out there in the protests, holding signs and all of that.
Throwing rocks and busting windows.
Oh, I know, looting and, you know what I'm saying?
I see
provocateurs and all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I see one dude, when I was looking at the Don Lemon video, it was one dude, it was a Foot Locker they were raiding, and people was running in and taking stuff and coming out, and one dude had his car parked right in front of the Foot Locker. It was a white dude, and he came out with a bunch of stuff and put it in his car, and the camera panned over, got his license plate.
Wow.
This dude's an amateur. He's never looted it, but yeah, I just thought that was hilarious that he was like, probably like, yeah, I'm gonna get away.
Yeah, but I say all that to say that people think Slim is crazy or he's ridiculous or, you know what I'm saying, he's went rogue. Like, this is a fine-tuned strategic genius.
Yeah.
Because he knows the time we're in.
Yeah.
Because their conversations are different than the general public conversations.
Yeah.
You know, even conversations in local leadership are different than community leadership.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to understand. Like, he's not just out there running amok, like doing whatever he wants. These are calculated trillions of dollars going into every action, every photo op, every executive order that's signed, every one of them little dumbass interviews about, you know,
little stupid stuff.
all of that is well strategic execution to profession.
Exactly.
Straight.
Exactly. Because they know you don't have to get all the people on your side. All you
don't.
have to do is rally the radicalized.
Nobody in history has ever
Right.
gotten all the people on this side. Ever.
All you have to do is rally the radicalized.
You get the right ones.
The radicalized. You got to rally the radicalized, and that's what. Once you do that, and that's why he gets away with the rhetoric that seems so.
He goes so
out
like
there.
he does so much illegal activity.
and they be like, well,
like see,
he didn't mean to say that.
Right.
He meant to, But anyway, we're not gonna spend I don't even like talking about that dude. But I mean, it's important.
Well,
this time
the only
because
reason I brought him up is because we are looking at the white demographic in this country have contradictions with themselves.
Right, and that's something that they don't typically admit to.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Figure that shit out, white people, because we've been out here for a long time.
Get back to us.
Yeah, let us know what y'all come up with, and see where we go from there. I don't know.
But this has been a real good conversation. I do want to definitely talk to our guest.
Master Woodard.
Specifically, yes, Master. So let's talk a little bit about the Master thing, because I remember you guys explaining it at the last show, that the event that Jay did, because you called Jay Master, and he had to run and be like, hold on, now it's not like
not a slavery.
He's not indebted to me or anything. It's more like it's just a respect thing, right?
Definitely.
Or where does it come from? What's the?
So I've had the honor and privilege of knowing Jason Master Anderson since high school, since Anacostia High School, my senior year. So
18.
18.
Yeah.
So I always just the comfortability that he brings to me when it comes to me being able to go to him and ask him questions, from the most simplest things to the most complex and political driven, etc. So it's always a sense of like, when him and I have dialogue, I feel as though I'm being fed spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and etc. So it's almost to the sense of where I feel as though I'm his student, and that's my master. I self-appointed him that, though. I gave him that title because I just feel that's the power and the bond that we have when we're around each other.
That's dope.
Definitely.
That's dope. So how did you guys meet? You said in Anacostia, right?
Anacostia High School, senior year.
Okay.
So he was working for a nonprofit at the time named Global Kids, and I was informed that since I had done some previous traveling abroad, that someone is interested in meeting me through this program, Global Kids, and I had met him, and he basically just gave me a spiel about Global Kids, and I wasn't interested, and but what's so interesting is how the universe and our higher power work. I ended up started seeing him more around the school, and he started being in my Spanish class.
Okay.
So I would see him and I would just have like regular conversations. And that basically that was the start and the foundation of our relationship now.
Cool.
And as you can see, I'm removed from high school, and I still have a strong bond and strong connection.
Yeah. And Jay, you was just in there trying to learn some Spanish, or what was you?
See, yo soy. Nah. So I was running the after school program, and I was new to the school, so I was trying to recruit, and so I just I sent like a letter out to like all of the teachers, and I was like, yo, can I just come through the classrooms to just to holler at the students? And then some of the teachers was real cool because it was Anacostia High School, so it's like some of the classes I was just like a teacher's aide because of certain disciplinary problems, and a certain demographic of teacher had a harder time of getting through to the Southeast DC demographic, if you know what I mean.
They needed a translator.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so different.
What she's saying is,
right.
He's like, my name's not Mo.
So exactly. So a lot of the teachers would allow me to come through their classrooms and like chill and sit in with the classrooms. But the Spanish teacher in particular, because Global Kids was an international travel program, and that particular teacher already had like an international travel like element to what she was already doing, so that was the best fit for me to be And it was funny because Ahmad wasn't even interested in my shit.
Right.
It was like him and I had like 3 people that year. It was you, I think Paris and Data.
Yeah.
But everybody was like, everybody kept telling me about Ahmad. Like, yo, you got to, this would be great for Ahmad. Go. But he was so busy. He was in everything. Like him and Paris. Like they was both seniors. They was real, I guess they weren't the typical student. And I guess that's why everybody was telling me to get with them. But they were already doing so much stuff. They were in so many activities and clubs and, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, all right. But then once I started like talking to them one-on-one, not necessarily about the program, just about how to maintain in life and, just understanding like the obstacles they gonna face just because I've been there. And, that's when they was like, all right, man, I'm going to come through. I'm going to see what's up. And then that's when it started to get real.
Exactly. The beginnings.
Right. And so one more thing from you, Jay. So what was your first impressions of Ahmad?
Yeah, I knew Ahmad was chosen, probably based on our first conversation. I could see his light. And I'm good at recognizing it. Probably like our first conversation. I was like, oh, okay. Even when he turned down the program, in my mind, I was like, all right, nigga, I'll see you soon.
I'm gonna get you.
I was like, he don't even know.
That's
but
cool.
I mean, so it was pretty initial.
Yeah,
it's pretty initial.
How does it feel to hear Jay say that he saw your light from?
Man, that's rewarding. That's like me receiving my a new ranking in my belt when it comes to him being my master. That feels good. I would definitely say that I felt his presence and his energy when I was talking to him. So that it's definitely mutual and it's reciprocal.
Definitely.
Yeah, Dave. And that's as you see, I call him Master Woodard.
Yeah.
Because because I think at Anacostia, that shit sounded weird. It's like, yo, this nigga, and like he said, I didn't ask him. He just started calling me that. And I was like, yo, but I was like, I had to explain to him. I was like, everything that you feel that you get from me, like I get from you. I was like, I am you. Like, so it's like, so I started calling him, but like, if you calling me Master Anderson, I was like, you're Master Woodard. Because I learned so much from you. I learned, I guess at different levels of understanding. Like I always tell him, I was like, I've just been here longer. So I've just seen more things, but I think the light is the same. I still learn as much from talking to you that you get from me. So, I was like, well, if you're going to call me master, I'm going to call you master. And so we're masters of each other.
Cool. Well, we out of time. No, I'm just playing.
No bull. What time is it for real, though?
Because that'd be a great way to.
It's 12, but
this is the interview part, though. Yeah, so we're good. Good timing.
Keep it going. But yeah, so like I said, I listened to the mixtape. It's amazing. You guys go check out Another Way. I want to start with the name of it. Like, where did the name come from? Because I know it's a story. I read up on it, so I know it's a story. But tell the people where the name Another Way.
Where'd you read up on it, Dave? Where'd you get these notes?
Well, I'm gonna talk about where you can find it on SoundCloud. He had a whole synopsis.
Dave always got notes.
You have to. That's how you do it anyway.
A real researcher.
Right, yeah.
Real journalist.
Yeah. So, but Another Way that I'm saying it right? That's
yeah.
I'll destroy stuff. I'll be like, it's a different way.
Nah, you ain't butcher it. You good. So for me, Another Way is basically the analogy of being at a crossroads in your life when it comes to striving to gain an understanding on what particular path you would like to go down. But through the title Another Way, it's almost me giving the confirmation that though I'm at this crossroads, I'm choosing to go another way than the obvious options and the paths that I feel as though that are being given to me.
Right.
So I also was able to correlate it with a poem by Robert Frost entitled The Road Not Taken. And
you like Robert Frost.
I do.
Dope,
I do. Great poet. And I felt that poem was very not only touching and inspiring, but I felt that it has something to do with that title, when the idea of just going another way. Right. In that poem, he talks about the idea of, being in a dilemma of trying to figure out which way to go, and in the end, he comes to the realization on which path he should take. Right. So really, Another Way is just encompassed with that poem, with personal experiences and situations where I felt as though I was at a crossroads in my life, and it's also just me being positive and having assurance on, okay, this is the path, or this is the road, or this is the journey that I'm going to take. So that's really a little synopsis of another way.
Right. And listening to you talk, even from like the first time I heard you, I saw you at Jay's event. I was like, for these type of cultured ideas to come out of someone so young. At that time, I had no idea that you were 57 years old. No, I'm just but you're what, 22?
22, yeah.
22 years old, and so to have these developed ideas is amazing, because it's a lot of 20. Like I said at the event, I remember saying, like, when I was 20, like, because I think at that time you were 21. I was like, when I was 21, I was doing a lot of stuff that had nothing to do with, I was just wasn't as focused as you definitely are. And so with that being said, let's take it back a little bit. I talked about your mastery of linguistics and your ability to put words together and things like that. Where did that come from? Do you attribute it to anything specific, or was it something you just acquired over time, or where did that,
It's a balance of it already being something that I feel as though a certain family member was already indulging in, so it was almost like passed on. But then it was also just having a natural passion and love for it. My grandmother is a natural writer and natural poet, even though she never chose to take it to certain levels. She would always talk to me about writing and always read me poetry and things of that nature. But I also just, me being a child of hip hop and rap music in particular, I always loved words, and I've always loved just English in general. I still have an obsession just for words in general. So it's a balance and a mixture between those two. I wrote my first poem/rap in the 3rd grade, and I didn't really think anything of it until my mother came to parent-teacher conference, and my 3rd grade teacher said, Ahmad has potential in writing. And that really, I had to be 9 years old, but that still struck me because, it stuck with me because it gave me, to be honest, it gave me a visualization of where I could go.
A path.
Yeah,
Another way.
See how full circle?
Hey.
It's always that one teacher
Right.
that
Yes.
believes in you.
And how
Yeah.
you talked about, his grandmother instilling, giving him that kind of that push towards it. And Patrice, how you talk about the importance of the things that your parents, kind of give you, or your garden, the people who
Your toolbox.
your toolbox.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's so dope. So I had another question. I'm trying to remember what it was, because that was really dope. I really like that answer. But so when did you get from the point of like seeing, or I guess that was the moment where it went from being like something that you were good at to, okay, let me try to actually pursue this? Was that the moment when the teacher said that you had a future in it?
It's interesting because after that I continued writing, but I didn't pursue it to 100% as I'm doing now. It became a hobby, and it was still a passion of mine, but it wasn't something like, if someone were to ask me, Ahmad, what do you want to be? I would have never said a rapper, a poet, or an MC. It was more of just like something I did alone, like a lot of other rappers starting out. They write poems and write rhymes to themselves, or they're very in tune with music, and they're watching the award shows and they're listening to music. So I was still heavy into all of that. I just didn't make a conscious decision that this is what I would like to do and this is what I shall do.
Okay. You said you wrote that first poem/rap.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. It was terrible.
Right.
It was terrible.
I think everybody kind of
It
feels
was
that way. Like I found like some old notebooks I had and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like threw it away. It was horrible. It was like the way nobody will ever see this.
Right.
But yeah. So starting out and kind of getting that push from your teacher, and then so you say you decided to kind of, or when did you decide to make it a career, or kind of put your all into it?
It's so interesting. Like I also feel like I had different stages and phases because the next level of it would be me attending church. I began to sing in the youth choir, and I would always tell our choir director that I'm willing to sing background, but I don't want to lead any songs. But I love rap music, and she found a way for us to incorporate raps into the selections that we would sing. So I will be rapping like Calm and Glory featuring John Legend, or I will rap Nas, I Know I Can. Just very quote unquote positive songs for that demographic at the time. So that was, for me, that was the next phase / stage when it comes to a performing round.
A lot of people
gaining stage presence and etc. So that was the next phase of it. But even in that, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm a rapper. It was just more of like, this is something I like to do. It's fun, and I enjoy just touching people. Even though I'm rapping someone else's words, I still felt the impact and the emotions that you can have on someone through the mic and through your words. So
that's dope. That's dope. And so that was the next step. So the question was but so and how did that progress into you saying, you know what, I'm a rapper?
Really, me being at the time Iowa State University.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
there.
There
You go, Jay. You know what to say when you say some good stuff now.
Nah, we got him out of there.
Oh, okay.
You know what's so interesting? I left, and Master was aware of this. I left before Trump got in. Like, and what's so interesting, I remember receiving an email from someone that I was conversing with. She had a staff position. She was telling us that people were spray painting very bigot things on the walls. And it's interesting because I literally left before the university started to gain that sense of energy and animosity towards people of color.
I told him get out of there, Dave.
Wow. Yeah,
but nah, because he would hit me up.
That's crazy.
He would hit me up, right? And you know, he walks everywhere.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
And he would just tell me about like the environment, like the classes and like the town, and then me, you know, obviously realizing who he was and what his potential was. I was like, at some point, I didn't know when. I was like, but at some point, he's going to be considered a threat out there.
Yeah.
By himself, no family. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, nah, you got to get out of there, bro. I was like, you got to get out of that joint, bro. Because people was concerned, like, oh, you telling him to leave school? Like, I was like, but he's smart enough to go to school anywhere.
Really,
Like, you know, I think Iowa State just, like, you know, gave him an opportunity to come out there. But I was just like, nah, just based off, like, how he used to tell me. And it wasn't negative. So these are just things that were popping up in my head. Like, yeah, I walked to the movies, and then I saw this, and these people were doing this. Then I was at this class, and they were talking about this, and this was happening. So I was just formulating in my own mind. I was like, yeah, you should get out of there. You should get out of there, bro. Like, come on back home. Like, if you want to go to college, you know, take your ass to HU, or, you know what I'm saying, somewhere where your folks at, so that you can grow. And because I knew, mind you, he was with me his whole senior year of high school.
Okay.
And then he just goes to Iowa. It's like, nah, bro, because the way your mind is developing and what you're seeking and what's going to be on your mind and all of that, like, you need to come back, bro.
Definitely.
So, I was just like, the white girls the best of them. No, but
that too. Like, stay away. Stay away, brother.
Look, that's, you know, it's your preference. Love doesn't have a color.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. No, but yeah, so
Jay,
what you about to say?
What?
What you say, Dave? You said love doesn't have a color.
I know. I was joking. Calm down. He knew it was.
I said that's another show.
Statement. Yeah, that's what he was saying. That's why he made that.
So I was like, we're not going to discuss that.
You wanted him to jump on me?
I know. She's like, Jay, get him. You heard what he said?
He got a sick Jay on me. He's a grown man. He's not an animal. No, but I know it was a joke. But I do. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother show. We'll talk about it. But you did say something that stood out to me. You talked about being a child of hip hop, and on this show, we always like to talk about the hip hop Mount Rushmore. So who you look up to in hip hop, or
no, Dave? I thought we changed that to top 5 to keep it uniform with the culture.
Did we change it to top? Well, we haven't been here in a while. Is that what happened?
I know my top 5 too.
Look, he got it ready. Most people like,
I already know.
He already know the first person. He know the first person.
I think I know all 5. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
Dylan.
All right, let me know y'all ready. I went to storm.
Yeah, no.
All right, number 1 for me. Number 1, Tupac. Number 2, Eminem. Number 3, Slick Rick.
Wow.
All right. Number 4, T.I.
Tip.
Yep. And number 5, Kanye West.
Yeezy.
Okay.
That's an interesting. Like, what made you put Yeezy in that 5 spot?
You know, so because I remember coming up and the college dropout was big. It was pandemonium. So I remember songs like Through the Wire and All Falls Down. Like I remember those. I remember those songs playing on VH1 and MTV and it just did something to me. Like listening to those songs.
Yeah.
So
That was black Kanye.
Yeah.
Oh
that was
yeah.
when he was-
His early
Yeah, like
Before he
Like
got tainted.
George
Like
Bush
all-
doesn't care
all-
about black people.
right.
Like-
Exactly. All Falls
I
Down
think
is
he
probably
still care about black
how
people.
you go up from George Bush doesn't care about black people to Donald Trump is like a father. Anyway, but All Falls Down is like probably one of my
traumatized.
favorite.
If he cared
hip-hop
about
songs,
that's
of
a
all
whole
time.
nother
Yeah,
show.
Really?
a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, All
Wow.
Falls Down is an amazing song. Like
I agree.
Yeah, I can play that. Like that's in
It's his
rotation for me
birthday.
right now. Who? Yeezy?
I think so.
Wow.
Okay, well, happy
What
birthday, Yeezy.
synchronicity?
Wherever he is, you know.
Oh, no.
Jay was like,
Jay
"Don't claim
said
that
no.
nigga." Look, it's but
Happy birthday, Yeezy.
I think he go through some, you know,
Jay
he go
guy.
through those. Everybody goes through those.
Well,
those
you know,
cycles, but we not.
I mean, I don't like his choice of representation. So certain things you do, just from my perspective. So I'm not saying this is a
And then you have more of a.
like once you make allies with certain people, you lose me.
Yeah.
And that is the case with Kanye for me. Like I was a huge Kanye fan.
Yeezy.
Just because of his he seemed to have create a lane for himself.
Exactly.
And that's
I know.
impressive. That's impressive because it's kind of like against all odds. Because when he came out, you know, and everybody knows the story. Like you know, he
Yeah.
was like a Bama.
Yeah,
But he made it
what'd
cool
he say,
and profitable.
They didn't want to put me out there in the pink polo.
Right, exactly. But it's like he was so creative, and that passion couldn't be denied.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
once he reached the goal he was attaining, you know,
the nigga snapped.
I
Nah,
think
but-
he aligned himself with certain entities that would disalign himself with other certain entities. And that's
put
the
him in
case
a
with me.
position to feel, yeah.
And his energy
Yeah.
shifted too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you know,
yeah,
especially when you giving your energy and your passion to something else other than your people,
Right, yeah.
because
yeah.
he was all about his people.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
at first he was like in that category, you know, like with Dave Chappelle Block Party. He was
Yeah.
with that, with Jill and Erica and the Roots and Common and, you know what I'm saying, the Food. Like, you lumped Kanye in with that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
then it went
yeah.
from that to like, you know, you lumped him in with like Jay and B and Rihanna. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you went that way with it because that's where the money at.
Then
But you
lumped
know,
him in
but
with
then
Kim
you
Kardashian
lose.
and Trump.
Yeah, it's like then you lose that whole mob that like that's why Dave sought him out for Block Party. Like he wanted like the most cultural effective artist. You know, and so he wouldn't be in that lineup anymore if you know.
And I don't even know if it was the
Culturally.
association with the Jay-Z's and Beyonce's as much as like maybe the level out because like he was still
Shout
putting
out
quality
Beyonce.
music. He was still, you know, the work was still reflective.
He's
of
still a
his
genius.
essence,
It's not
but-
taken away.
And it's but it's not the work now. You can see like it's diminished. Like it's not as reflective of its essence, and that's why I think College Dropout was such an important piece, and it stands out like in its time. And that and a few after that were like amazing.
Yeah, because
like,
late registration,
Yeah, amazing.
graduation, 808s.
even the Dark Twisted Fantasy, it was a little out there, but that joint like
But
it's some quality
that
work
started
on
the
it.
break.
It's some quality work on there though.
Oh,
But
it's
yeah,
super
you
duper
notice.
quality
Yeah,
work.
Yeah, you
That's a
notice the
classic
stuff.
album. So not to take away from the
Yeah.
artistic element, I'm speaking specifically about the cultural
Personally, yeah.
element of his allegiances as he continue to elevate on that ladder. You know what I'm saying? You know, he just made, and it's like, it's tough, man, because, you know, he lost his mom at the height of his success, and, you know, you become a target, and all of these hands are out, and all of these eyes are on you. So it's not a judgment. Because I refuse to like judge somebody, but I'm just saying, like, you know, once a person aligns themselves with an entity, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of got to like let them go. But like you still a genius, you still deserve all of the artistic accolades that you get. But, you know, I'm a person that's grounded in my people,
right?
And so I won't align myself with anyone or anything that isn't.
Yeah, and you talked about you and last week when we had Joe Claire on, y'all talked about that Hollywood, that LA machine, that kind of works on you. And I think
it's real,
being
man.
in that situation where losing somebody as close as your man, especially as close as they were, you know, to have that kind of thing chipping away at you, and then also to lose like a piece of your foundation, it's, you know, you don't really have no defense, so it kind of breaks you down. But anyway, let's get back to the interview. I'm sorry. This is why it goes so long, because we go off on these tangents.
we got what time is it?
Good convo.
It's 12:18,
All
so
right,
we're not going to go too much further. But I
it.
definitely want to get some more information about your journey,
Master
and,
Woodard,
where you are and where you're headed. So the mixtape, Another Way. Do you have and this is always an interesting question, because, you know, for most artists, you know, every piece that they do is like their baby. But do you have a favorite on this album, or a favorite piece that you've ever done?
Like, when you say favorite piece, are you saying like song off the mixtape?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I have a few. I actually have a self-title track, Another Way, on the mixtape. That's the last song that I like, that I love. I have the first song, Something Real.
That's dope.
It's more. Thank you. It's more
I
like
heard
a love.
that one too.
Appreciate it. It's more of like a love song.
I ain't say it was good. I said I heard it. No, I'm just kidding.
And I would say one more. I'm actually a featured artist on this song, but it's a song called What You Know by E.T. on the beat. The guy who produced 95% of the beats on. And the reason I put that song on there, even though I'm a featured artist, is I really like my verse and what I was talking about, and how I was able to basically come from a different perspective compared to E.T., but I was still able to insert myself in the song.
Right. And researching you, looking up, you know, the information that I found about you, I saw in a couple of things this quote that you love bow ties.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
noticed that you happen to have one on today. Where did that come
and
from?
every day you see him.
Yeah. Every time I've seen him since the first time he's had on the bow tie. Where did that come from?
To be honest, Anacostia High School, I give them all the credit.
What?
Yep.
You didn't come out of Anacostia loving Timberlands and Spades, nigga. You came out loving both of them.
No, our an old principal, Dr. Roberts, Dr. Ian Roberts.
He is soldier.
Yeah, ninth
Salute
grade
to
year.
Dr. Roberts.
Ninth grade year, you couldn't come into the school unless you had a tie. So I went to my mom and said, "Mom, can you give me a bow tie? I'm not really a fan of the straight ties that go straight down." And she said yes, and she got me that red tie. I still have it. It's dingy now though, so I don't wear it out anymore. But I began wearing bow ties, and I just felt that, as weird as this may sound, I felt that like when I wear it, it's a sense of empowerment for me. It's almost like my hair when it comes to it being a statement, but it's also a sense of, I feel like it's a representation / symbol of Ahmad, whether it be I'm unique, I'm creative, I'm different. So I just love how a bow tie makes me feel when I have one on.
That's pretty cool.
You know, I wear it like a badge of honor almost.
That's
so
dope.
so even after they threw out the rule of having to wear ties, I still chose to wear ties from 9th grade year all the way to 12th
So
grade
we
year.
on the basketball court. I'm like, nigga. Nah, I'm just joking.
No, but you spoke about your hair also being a symbol of you know, like a piece of expression for you.
Yes.
How long you been growing your locks?
I would say 2.5 to 3 years.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
all. Your hair grow fast. I've been growing this for 2-3. That's dope though. It was funny.
Thank
I was watching that video I was talking about with Don Lemon. It was a dude that ran in the Foot Locker, and his hair was kind of similar to yours.
Wow.
I had to play it back like that. But it wasn't true. It wasn't true. He was a little taller. But yeah, the hair was similar. But yeah, so I see a lot of artists kind of, you know, nowadays growing out their hair for different reasons.
Yeah.
Does it have any like kind of spiritual relevance to you, or?
You know what's so interesting? It started forming based off of how I was treating my hair.
Okay.
It wasn't as intentional as the bow ties. Like it was just, from my understanding, I was wearing a lot of hats and masks. No, I wear a lot of fedoras. Is that how you pronounce it? Fedoras and those type of things, and it would make my hair matted.
Okay.
So, and I would never just do anything to it.
Okay.
So after a while, things just began just forming the way they did naturally.
Okay.
But intentionally and consciously, I wasn't like, okay, I'm a grow freeform dreads. It kind of, as weird as this may sound, it just happened.
Wow.
You know, based
That's
off
because
how.
those are your antennas.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
ever cut
Wow.
them.
Oh man.
That's that ether. Don't ever cut your hair. Leave
That's
it just like
powerful.
it is. That's you. Those are your antennas.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
You
I
alright
wear a
over there,
big
Jay?
afro normally, so it's
Okay,
but it's
yeah.
just pulling back.
Why you
today.
ask me?
Oh no, because I seen you when she was saying that's your antenna. I see you kind of.
It's just anytime she talk, I don't. It's like, no.
You get all
The effect of feminine energy.
Anytime I hear her voice, I'm always like,
Exactly.
what is she
Almost
talking
melt.
about?
Right.
Are you serious? That's so bad. I told y'all he mean.
Any kind of way. But
Oh man.
but yeah, man, it's such an inspiration to talk to you. So I want
thank
to I want to ask you a little more about the album, the process, like where your inspiration comes from when you write, like when you write in
Ooh.
verses, like where do you get your inspiration from?
Definitely, I definitely allow the beat to dictate what I'm going to write, whether it be lyrically, subject matter wise, or even down to the cadence that I would like to choose for the beat. So I definitely strive to tune in and hear the instrumental and feel from an emotional standpoint what the instrumental is saying to me, and then I allow that to guide me usually. So that's 95% of the time. That's usually how I'm able to come up with the concept for the song and the lyrics and etc.
That's brilliant, and I just say it's
Oh,
brilliant
wow.
because
Thank
that's exactly how I used to write.
See?
Definitely. No, but yeah, because people, they ask me where inspiration comes from. People, yeah, I'm inspired by life and stuff. I'm usually inspired by the music. Like life is what I write about when I'm inspired. But and exactly how you put it is how I would say, like, you listen to what the music is saying to you, and you just repeat it back. You be the voice of what the music is saying to you, and that's like some of the best stuff. Comes out when you and like Michael Jackson had a quote. They were asking him about his music writing process, and he was talking about how you try to remove yourself from the process because he would talk about his belief was that music, as any art, is divine, and so it comes directly from God, and so you have to take yourself out of the equation and let it like flow. He was like, when you start to think about it, now you're putting yourself into it, and it's no longer art. It's structure, and the art is not that. Art is organic, is the word they use, and that's so that's how it is. And when you get into that vibe and kind of feel it, and you feel it, when you're writing, it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing, and it definitely shows in your work. 100%. So,
Thank you.
So I know it's a lot of youngins out there, probably at Anacostia High School. Well, not right now because they're not back in yet, but when they get back in, but that are aspiring to try to make that leap into music and their artistic expression. Do you have any advice, or what would you say to people who want to take that step?
I would definitely say believe in yourself first off. Be mindful, and I actually learned this from Master. And J. Cole said it in one of his songs, but just be mindful of who you share that information to when it comes to your dreams, because you're going to encounter people on your path and on your journey that's going to try to deter you from those dreams and try to discourage you. So I would say definitely be mindful on who you let in when it comes to revealing certain information. But other than that, believing in yourself, I will also say study. Like being a scholar and being a student of music or whatever specific genre you're striving to be a part of. I strive to be a student when it comes to studying the greats and studying people that have come before me, and also studying the people that are currently out now. So I definitely would say being a student, of course, believing in yourself, and also just being mindful on who you relay that information to when it comes to your dreams. Those are, for me, the three keys.
That's dope. Yeah. So, like, the insight from 22. Are you sure? But yeah, but I saw it like the first time I heard you spit, and yeah, ever since then, every time since then I've seen that. Like Jay said, that light is undeniable. And
Wow, thank you. I definitely give
powerful, and yeah,
I give praise to the people I've been just nurtured by, such as Master Anderson and my mother, grandmother, etc. So
yeah, that's dope. They did a good job. Man. Definitely.
Heard that, Master?
Thank you. Well, I mean, I it's nothing for me to take credit for. I'm just.
I was more talking about the mother and
grandmother.
Yeah, he don't do that. No, he definitely does.
I just see what's already there, bro.
Yeah. That light is definitely shining. Patrice,
yes.
Proof it.
Do you have any specific words of wisdom to offer our young guests today?
No,
I love putting you on the spot. Go ahead.
So no, it's okay. I just two words came to mind as you were speaking. Is that you are a divine being.
Wow.
Like I can feel that. I hear it. It's the way that you talk and the way that you move in your craft. You talked about being a scholar of your craft and and mastering it and learning it and being a student. And just the fact that you have Jay in your space. And then when you talked about telling people about not inviting different energies in their intellectual property, because essentially that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And your goals and your dreams and your vision, because you don't need to see your vision with a set of eyes. You don't need your eyes. Mm-hmm. But people are tangible. They're gonna need to see it, and they won't believe in you wholeheartedly unless they love you to your core. They won't believe it because they won't be able to see it. But, and so unless somebody can see your vision without eyes, then that might not be your people. So just keep vibing and keep vibing the way you are.
Yes, man.
I like it when Patrice goes get deep, man. I like
Proof
it.
it.
It's so powerful. That feminine energy is so necessary.
It's needed.
It's powerful, and it's necessary. It's amazing. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Patrice, for that. I don't even. What you got, Jay?
Yes, almost time to wrap this shit up. So, so why don't you tell us what you got going on, or where people can find you, what events you got going on,
There you go, Jay.
and some closing words, nigga.
Okay, so you all can find me on my Instagram, Ahmad.Woodard, AHMAD.
I've also petitioned for him to
Woodard.
change his rap name.
finish.
No, just because he's given his handle, and I've petitioned for him to go ahead and change his name to Master Woodard. Like like Master Ace
Splinter.
or
You
Master.
can change your IG. You can change your name.
No, I'm saying his whole name. I'm sorry, Ahmad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
you
It's
good,
just when
man.
I heard Ahmad, I was like, nigga, you need to change that shit. But go ahead.
Anyway, go ahead. We'll talk about it.
I'm sorry.
No, you good. But no, you can find, that's my IG handle at the moment. If it were meant to manifest and be a part of my journey to change my rap name and rap handle, it would be. But the current
You'll
one
know.
is right.
Yeah.
The current one is Ahmad.Woodard, AHMAD.Woodard, WOODARD. You can find my mixtape Another Way, and the link is in my bio for my Instagram. So that's basically a way to find my most recent project. And this Friday, I shall be performing on IG Live. I am sorry, me and Master Anderson are still working out. Well, we're not working out, but we're still striving to get the information on the time and the specific IG Live. But there's an event called the DC Safe Summer Artist Showcase, and I have the honor of being on the bill with rising youth that are artists such as myself, but also great and legendary artists such as Raheem Devon and T.O.B. and Backyard. So I'm really just honored to be on that bill and have an opportunity to perform. But the performance, we don't know the time and we don't know the IG Live, but it is this Friday, June 12th. So you can just be on the lookout for that.
And you can
follow him, and he'll put it up.
I've been following Backyard's page to kind of keep updated with the actual event, because they just got a bigger platform. And so when I see them post it, that's why I send all my questions like, yo, what time? Like, what platform? So
Yeah.
if y'all not following Master Woodard,
You should
and
follow him.
Yeah, you should. But if
get
you want information about the event itself, I've been checking on Backyard's IG.
And
That
that's
makes
dope
sense.
that Backyard's going to be on there because I don't know if you know, but you can party with Backyard in the morning, baby. I don't. That's anyway. See, there it is.
The famous side.
The Patrick J. Son exhale. I had to get one out of him. So yeah.
Oh man, let's wrap this shit up.
Hey man, we're so happy to be back in Nubian Human. Our
Shout
home
out
base.
Anika.
Shout out Anika Hobbs.
Hey.
For, allowing us to be here and share our energies. We're gonna wipe everything down before we leave, so we're not sharing too much of our energies with the COVID-19 going on. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking us out on behalf of myself, Fruitfit, Jason,
Hey.
and Master Woodard.
Hey.
Oh, he got his
Yeah.
But y'all go find Ahmad Woodard on Instagram, and and get that mixtape. It's dope.
Oh,
I'm
thank
vouching for it 100%. It's dope. That's all. That's the biggest I could give you. It's moving, spiritually moving, and
Thank
and it's necessary for these times. Like the messages are real strong and profound. And so I appreciate you for coming through, man. Thank you so much
y'all
for
having
sharing,
me. It's
a
an honor.
part of yourself with us. Oh, I didn't get to ask the question that I always ask everybody. If you had a chance to talk to a younger you, like if let's say you're only 22, so that's but not to take anything from you, but
Right.
if you had a chance to talk to 12-year-old Ahmad Woodard, what would that conversation be like? What would you say to yourself, to 12-year-old you, knowing everything you know now, being through everything you've been through, all the wisdom you've gained? What would you say to you?
Take your time. Take your time, Ahmad. Be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. Just the first thing I think about is the analogy that Will Smith said. Just keep building. Lay it brick by brick. So take your time and be patient. It's going to come.
That's powerful.
Awesome.
And that's a great way to wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys so much again for checking out another episode of our show, which is called, what's it called again, Jay?
The Neighborish Livecast.
There you go. Boom. And we'll be back next week. Peace out, everybody. Have a
Peace.
great week.